Why, hello there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Hey Go Have a Good One. This is the second part of my look-through of Death of a Bachelor by Panic at the Disco. You guys have seen the first part, right? Right? Excellent. So then we can just move straight on to the very next song that we had gotten up to. That one being, obviously, as you guys would know, LA Devotee. So, starting off LA Devotee, we get a very Sonic Heroes sounding drum track. If you have ever played Sonic Heroes, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's a very, very upbeat, like, I don't know. I'm not even gonna try, even though I just did try, but it's okay. Yeah. It's that kind of same type of track, to be honest. Same type of sounding drum track. I like the guitar, trumpets. I don't actually know what the instrument is, but whatever it is, I like it, like, towards the beginning. It's a very catchy sound overall, throughout the verse. The chorus sounds a bit screechy at the beginning, for me. I don't know. It kind of ruined the vibe for me. However, the bit where he's like, the bit at the end where he's like just another LA devotee sounds very good. Sounds really good. The second verse blends into the chorus very seamlessly. The rhythm of the singing is also really good. I really like it. There's some nice alliteration in the chorus. I like. Like, let me see if I can actually get this up. Let's see if I can't find some of this alliteration that I'm talking about here. So let me hold on. Uno momento, por favor. Whereabouts? Yeah, okay, so it's kind of interesting. It's kind of an interesting type of rhyming pattern. So you got sun sets on the evil eye, invisible to the Hollywood shrine. I don't know, it's like, it's more than just one sound that's actually rhyming or alliterating with each other. What on earth did I mean by alliteration? What the heck? What? Hold on. I can figure this out. I can figure out what I actually meant here. Drinking white wine in the blushing light. Sunsets on the evil eye, invisible in the Hollywood shrine. Maybe I meant rhyming. Always on the hunt for a little more time. Yeah, I must have meant rhyming. Regardless, I like it. The post-chorus is quite nice as well. The bridge sounds nice. It pulls back, but it pulls back on the sound, but still keeps all that same energy, which is always good whenever a bridge is able to pull that off well. Now the key change that happens during the third chorus, I don't think it really sounds too good. But then I will admit that the chorus did the key change. It kind of grew on me in the second half of the chorus. Maybe it was because I was getting used to it, or maybe it was just because in general that part just sounds better in that key. Also, I really like the ending when the music cuts out, so you just hear all of the Brendan singing LA Devotee, like singing just that part together, with no music. It's very cool sound. So this song focuses on a person who embodies the idea of the LA archetype, all consumed by materialism, but also personifies the glitz, glamour, and fantasy life quality of living there. Basically, yeah, LA in a nutshell. I've heard. I don't know. I've never actually been there, but I know a lot of people have actually had some negative things to say about it. But then other people are like, dang, this place looks sick. So, I think it has something to do with a personality type of thing, you know? This song dissects, criticizes, but also marvels at the allure of a wealthy lifestyle. I'd say it's interesting to do both at the same time. It's interesting to do both of those things, to both condemn and marvel something in one song. It's always interesting whenever a song does that. I guess you can really see the flaws in things you love. I suppose. Anyway, LA Devotee, I award a 7 out of 10. It's catchy, but there are some moments that lost the momentum of the song for me. It's still quite good, but I wouldn't place it at the same score as Don't Threaten Me with a Good Time or Emperor's New Clothes. It's just a notch below those ones. So yeah, 7 out of 10. Next up, Golden Days. Now, I actually have a full disclosure for y'all. I have a good friend who's, I found out that her favorite Panic album is actually this one, Death of a Bachelor, and she has said that her favorite song in this album is Golden Days, actually. So, let's see just how well informed she is with this as her favorite. Let's see how good taste she has. So, starting off, we have a very strong beat and a very strong intro. Like, those vocals just have that punch to it, you know? Then the guitar comes in. Very, very nice. The pre-chorus works. It almost sounds like a build-up, but not quite. If you have any idea what it means. I guess you can say it's almost like a prelude to a build-up. It's a very slow burn. The chorus was actually not what I was expecting. It's quiet. Like, I think this is the first song so far that actually gets quieter during the chorus rather than louder. It's interesting. It's quieter at first anyway, but then it builds up gradually, very gradually. Like I said, very slow burn. The real explosion actually comes from the refrain. The refrain is terrific. Like, the chorus actually almost sounds like the build-up part. This is what I mean when I say it's a slow burn. It's like, the pre-chorus is like a build-up to the build-up. The chorus, which is when usually you have the beat drop or whatever you call it, is actually the build-up. And then the refrain is the bit where everything explodes. And then, so then, the second verse adds in more elements, sounds more full. Good. Very good. Yeah, that chorus really works. Pulling everything back, and it works well with the lyrics too. The lyrics actually, it's like, it's kind of a similar thing to what I had said before with Don't Threaten Me with a Good Time, where going from like chorus to verse, it works with the, it works for the overall like, I guess the image that's trying to be conveyed, for lack of a better term, or what the whole song's all about. It's like, I don't know, it's telling a story, and it's like, at this point, it's like, this is the part of the story where the main characters, like, reached, like, this big point, this major point where they've just, like, it's like they've almost, like, flown straight up beyond the clouds, and they get to see how, like, calm everything is before they just come soaring down to, like, this huge explosion. I don't know exactly how this works, but, like, well, the first line of the chorus is, "Don't you remember when the lights begin to fade and the clock just makes the colors turn to gray?" Like, I don't know about you, but as far as I'm concerned, that those lyrics work really well for, like, a part that pulls back and gets quieter. And I gotta say, I love those rock high notes during the refrain. There's always a lot of passion put into them. It's just like, mwah, French kiss. Ah. The bridge also sounds almost jazzy. It kind of reminds me of The Bachelor, almost. Things get quiet, like towards like the bridge and that, before then exploding at the very end. Like, oof! It really works. And then we get final guitar chord that just fades out at the end. It's a nice ending. So, what is this song? This song takes listeners on a nostalgic journey via vivid imagery and 70s pop culture references. The song it mostly deals with happy memories, but they're not his. They're someone else's. The chorus focuses largely on his own internal struggle with the fear of losing youth, and as the song concludes, he begins to accept the thought of getting older and lives in the moment, as these are indeed golden days. Well, dang. That is quite profound, actually. So, yeah, that's actually quite profound. I actually really like what that's all about. Yeah. I don't know. If I were to write a song, it'd probably be like a similar type of... I would hope that it would, like, convey a similar type of message. Maybe not to this exact same topic. It's like, I don't know, this kind of structure, I should take notes. I need to take notes. I'm thinking this might be in the test. So anyway, I give Golden Days a 9 out of 10. My friend has good taste. It has been certified fresh. This song is explosive, it's dynamic, it's profound. I guess the only thing I can really say against it is the instrumental. Like, it could have been, like, the instrumental could have been more explosive because it's mostly Brendan's voice that adds that gunpowder to it. That is a very minor thing, though. I'm still giving this a 9 out of 10. It is. It's so good. Anyway, next up, we have the good, the bad, and the dirty. So we start off with a very typical stadium chant. If you've ever been into a sports group and a sports stadium and people start singing like a chant for their team, you'll have heard this chant. We get the title of the song very quickly, the good, the bad, and the dirty. That's like first lyric dropped. The verses were not what I imagined they would sound like. It sounds very carnival-y. Like, I've noticed a lot of Panic's songs have sounded like very much like a carnival, and there have been several of these songs in Death of a Bachelor, and that's been like a prevalent type of sound ever since their first album. So I guess that influence has stuck around. Anyway, the pre-chorus sounds very familiar. It kind of sounds like a song that would be played in a stadium. I don't know if I've ever heard it before, but it does sound very familiar. In fact, I probably haven't heard it before. It just sounds very similar to other stuff I've heard. The verses sound... oh, wait. Yeah, no, the pre-chorus. And then the chorus comes along and it's like, yeah. The verses sound very different. Like, I think I actually like the verses in the song more than the chorus or the pre-chorus. In general, the pre-chorus is okay. So is the chorus. Neither of them really jump out at me like Golden Days did. And then when we got to the bridge, I remember I was actually thinking in my head, is it going to go into like clapping? You know what I'm talking about. When it gets to the third chorus and it's like, we get like, the music cuts out and people are just like clapping to the beat. Actually, I probably shouldn't be criticizing it that much. 9 in the Afternoon does that. But no, it didn't. The Good, the Bad, and the Dirty didn't. I was honestly expecting that to happen in that song because it seemed like that's where the song was going. I guess I'm just not good at predicting song progression. Oh well. This song very much just comes and goes for me. And I just realized, and like, I realized after the song was finished that this is the second shortest song in the album, with Emperor's New Clothes being only 12 seconds shorter. And Golden Days is the longest song, over 4 minutes. Interesting. Interesting. I mean, I suppose, yeah, Golden Days, it is the slow burner song, so yeah, that makes sense. This song is basically a melting pot for both the good and bad times in Brendan's journey as a musician. From a bizarre relationship to a fist fight, this song represents the idea that being a touring artist can be both exciting and grueling. And you know what? I am in full agreement of that. I mean, I've never been a touring artist, but I'm imagining that's exactly what it's like. Like, man, if it's anything like being involved in a musical that you stick around, well, even then, it's like most concerts stick around for several weeks, do they not? I don't know. Haven't really been to many concerts in my life, to be honest. Anyway, the good, the bad, and the dirty. I give this song a 5 out of 10. This song's very meh to me. It's not very dynamic or explosive. I'll probably forget about it as soon as I'm done with this episode. And that's pretty disappointing, because honestly, this song was the only one other than Hallelujah to be in the meh tier. However, still doing quite well, because there aren't any songs that I've put in the bad tier yet. Anyway, moving on, we have House of Memories. Now, this title reminded me, and probably everybody else, of the songs House of Wolves and the House of Gold, the other two parts of the emo house trifecta. Will I ever cover those albums? Who's to say? It also reminded me of Panic's previous song Memories. You remember that one? In Vices and Virtues? I think from memory, I think it was like the 4th or 5th song. Anyway, we get a nice sounding techno builder. The intro sounds quite cool, almost foreboding actually. Brendan's singing sounds very nice in this song. It's very soft, a bit different. It's a lot less, like there's no rock elements in the singing. Like it's not quite as like there's not like as it's not as glottal onsetty, it's not as loud, it's not as I don't want to say shouty, but that's probably the closest thing I can really compare it to. But it's like he's not shouting ever. Regardless. Yeah, in this song his singing is very soft. I guess kind of more like the verses in Death of a Bachelor. The instrumental is very cool, let me say. The chorus sounds nice. Actually, this whole thing just sounds very nice. That's the best word I can use. It isn't particularly dynamic or explosive, but it still sounds good. It's a different vibe to some of the other, I guess, like Party Party Hard Hard type of songs that have been in the album previously. The bridge slows down and we get a really cool instrumental going on. I don't even know what instruments are used. I don't know whether it's like just a synth pad that's doing all of this. I really can't tell you. Brendan goes a bit harder vocally during the bridge, but it's still pretty darn soft. Especially compared to some of the previous songs, like particularly Emperor's New Clothes, actually, now that I think about it. The bass comes in for the last chorus, and then the percussion comes in afterwards, before everything comes in after like a second of silence. So it's like Brendan goes super hard vocally during the bridge, then he goes back to like his soft singing with just a bass behind him, and then eventually the percussion comes in after a while, and then just you get like silence for like half a second, and then everything comes in full force. It's nice, but it's not like S tier levels of explosiveness. Anyway, and then the song then just ends suddenly. Like they just kind of forgot about the last note. Like, even the vocalizations, I think it's like there are several like notes that they're hitting during the whole like whoa bit, but it's like it almost sounds like they just skipped the last note and just ended it a bit prematurely. Bit weird. Anyway, this song's dispirited lyrics talk about the realization of how finally being wedded to the one you love. Autocorrect, what the heck? The song's dispirited lyrics talk about the realization of how finally being wedded to the one you love can almost seem worse than being alone. Ooh, I hope Sarah doesn't hear about that. Brendan comes to grips with the facts that the fantasies he once dreamed of can fall short of what's a reality when it comes to finally settling down or marrying. He realizes that he can't build a relationship on daydreams and short-term passion. Very important lesson for the youth of today. You can't build a relationship on daydreams and short-term passion because, well, I mean, a relationship's not exactly a short-term thing. Wouldn't you agree? I mean, I don't think you would really be trying to make it a short-term thing anyway. I don't think that's really the goal. Anyway, I give House of Memories a 7.5 out of 10. It sounds really good, especially the instrumental. In fact, I think House of Memories is probably one of the stronger instrumentals in the album. But it isn't as explosive or dynamic as some higher ranked songs in this album. I think that makes it the third song in this album that's gotten a 7.5. Anyway, so next we've got the final song of this album, and as I'd said before, no bonus songs, so this one actually is the last one, Impossible Year. So we get some brass and some piano, very different from the electro pop from before. It's another jazzy, like, Frank Sinatra-esque song. And the song in general is very slow and somber, especially compared to the previous songs. I like the assonance in the verses, and for those of you who don't really care about English that much, I will explain to you what assonance means. It's basically like slant rhyme. That's basically what it is, all it is. It's pretty much just like, you take two words that sort of rhyme, but not really. Like, an example would be bat and, like, had. Yeah, okay, bat and had. So, here's what I mean by that. Only black days and sky grays and clouds full of fear and storms full of sorrow that won't disappear. Just typhoons and monsoons this impossible year. Oh, all the guests at the party, they're so insincere, they just intrude and exclude this impossible year. Yeah, that's what I mean. It's, I don't know, for me, I actually really like that sound. It sounds nice, especially to like the rhythm and like obviously the singing that's going on as well. This song sounds like a poem. It sounds like a poem. It sounds like, you know, like you could step up to a stage and you could just speak the lyrics and it would still convey a lot of meaning. And also, there's no chorus in this song. Impossible Year doesn't have a chorus in it. Another rarity. And it seems like he's getting gradually higher, like he's singing at a gradually higher pitch with each verse. But like, it never gets to the point of sounding, like, I hesitate to say screechy because, like, he's not really ever screeching at all. It's just like, I don't know, it's just like an extra sound that makes it sound almost raspy. And it's like, sometimes it sounds good, other times less so. So, yeah. Hope nobody's ever been offended by me calling it screechy, because, like, it's not. I know that I use that word a lot, but he's not screechy. Anyway, the reason why it doesn't get to, like, that, I guess, uncomfortably high register, is because the song starts off very, very low. It starts off, like, bass. Anyway, the bridge sounds very nice. The instrumental break it really feels like a Pixar film. Like, I feel like I would hear this particularly the instrumental break in, like, I don't know, Finding Nemo or Up. I haven't actually covered Disney on this show yet, and there's so much that I could actually cover on that. Anyway, I like the brass piano combination. Again, I don't know what specific brass instrument it is. If I were to hazard a guess, I would want to say, like, I don't know, like a trumpet or a trombone or something like that, or maybe a French horn. I don't really know, to be honest. But I like the combination of brass and piano. We haven't gotten that very often in this album. We get a very bleak intro, quite the downer of an ending song. Almost like the hangover that you get after a party, or after everybody's left and you kind of have that, like, post-party clarity. And then the echo effect at the end sounds quite creepy. And then it just all gets swallowed down like a plug hole in a shower, if you know what I mean. Interestingly, despite being the last song of the album, this is the first song Brendan wrote for Death of a Bachelor. It serves as a eulogy for the dead bachelor and leaves the listeners wondering about the future. It sounds very pessimistic, but each line ends with "this impossible year" as an optimistic reassurance that better times will come with Sarah and his love of music to motivate him on a course to recovery. With this song, he tells listeners to cherish good times, but also persevere when in a struggle. Honestly, as far as I can see, the good times are what get you through the struggles, because they remind you that things can and will get better. So, if you're ever going through a rough patch in life, remember, like, by all means, remember the good times, and remember that those aren't going to be the last good times you'll ever have. You'll always have brighter horizons. Especially if you feel like things can't get any worse, because if they can't get any worse, then you can only really move up from there. Anyway, so, Impossible Year, I am giving another 7.5 out of 10. So many 7.5s. It's really hard to compare this song to some of the others because it's just so different. It sounds really nice. It's a really good ending song. I really like it. Especially if we see it from a party context. Like, this album as a whole is just something story of a party. And it ends with that post-high clarity that people tend to go through afterwards. I wouldn't rank it any higher, but it's a nice fade out to the album as a whole. It's almost like this song is a fade out in and of itself. So yeah, Impossible Year, 7.5 out of 10. So, that concludes Panic at the Disco's 5th studio album, Death of a Bachelor. So, this album definitely contains some of the most well-known songs that Panic at the Disco has ever done, like Death of a Bachelor, Don't Threaten Me with a Good Time, and Emperor's New Clothes. It's a very versatile album, going between electro rock pop to just straight rock pop to jazzy to Disney villain. It's a very strong album, and it really shows Brendan's skill as a composer, since he participated in writing all of them. Obviously, he had help with them. I double-checked this. He didn't write any of these completely alone. He had a lot of help, but it still really shows his skill. He participated in writing all of them. The particular standouts for me in this album were Crazy Equals Genius, Golden Days, and Victorious. And as such, Oh, and for those of you who don't know, basically the overall score of the album is pretty much the average score. So I add up all of the scores that I'd previously given to all of the songs in the album and then divide it by the number of songs that are in the album to get the overall score. And with that in mind, I am giving the overall score for Death of a Bachelor is a 7.5 out of 10. I mean, no surprises there, considering just how many songs I'd given a 7.5 out of 10 in the first place. But I believe, I'm pretty sure that actually means that it has the highest score out of all the albums I've covered so far. Let me just go through them all. So, Too Weird to Live, Too Rare to Die got a 7.2. Vices and Virtues also got a 7.2. Pretty Odd got a 6.8. And then A Fever You Can't Sweat Out got a 5. So yeah, no, this is the highest score so far. That makes sense, because also out of all the albums that we've covered so far, this one's my favorite. However, there is still one more album that Panic has made. Pray for the Wicked, which I think was like, what, 2018 or something like that? It's the most recent album that's come out, and that one's actually my favorite. So I'm gonna re-listen to that album. I'm gonna see if my opinion has changed at all, and I'll get back to you on that eventually, probably within the next few weeks or so. But until then, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope to see you all in the next episode. Until then, have a good one!